Oh, yeah, now we are.
We're live. What's going on, everybody? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional, alongside my co-host,
Mikey Fever.
And this is a New Yorker's Perspective, live once again. Second night in a row. We're live. We're live. You know, thanks for tuning in. For those who are watching currently, we have our brother Terrain Hicks. We had our brother Terrain Hicks on a while back, speaking in regards to the occult science, occult teachings. If you didn't watch that, Terrain and I, our history go back to the 90s. We came up out of Harlem Dojo karate underneath Grandmaster Sam McGee and Master Dwayne McGee. They were brothers, 135th Street, Bathhouse. That's where I met Terrain. And Terrain and I, we formed a tight bond, and the history goes on and on and on and on. But it's not about our history. It's about the teachings. We're talking about occult teachings right now. And I would like to open up the floor to Brother Terrain to introduce himself and what are occult teachings exactly from how you see it, the way you see it.
All right. Peace. Thanks for that intro.
Beautiful.
Right. So I'm an occultist, and I'm 34 years old, but I've been practicing the occult basically since I was like a late teenager. And I pretty much been engulfed into occult practice, occult science, magic, African spirituality. And it all started with martial arts. So I'm happy. I'm happy my brother Rob brought that up because, growing up in the dojo, literally growing up in the dojo, I had the luxury of not being plagued with what do you call it? Christianity, and I was able to have a free mind where I got into energy, and the first thing I learned about in spirituality was meditation. You know what I'm saying, as a child. And then
I don't mean to cut your flow. I don't mean to cut your flow. You got to tell them, how did we grow up meditating? Like, what was when we were in the dojo?
Yeah.
How
So when we was in the dojo, the first thing we had to learn was silent meditation. And we learned this as children, right? You had to learn how to sit still. You had to learn how to close your eyes and be still. You couldn't move. So we learned this as children. You know what I'm saying? And that made us real resilient. Like those were some real hardcore. This is a hardcore upbringing, like a real. It was the best way you can get trained in Harlem, New York, was in the dojo. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it all started with meditation.
Yeah.
From our instructors. Yeah.
Dope.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
That's dope, man.
So now, real quick, we would start off class. First of all, we'll be on the sidelines, but sparring, going over forms, etc., and all that, and then he would clap the class up. This is Grandmaster Sam McGee. Grandmaster Sam McGee would clap the class up. Now, when he claps the class up, all the black belts in the front, brown belts in the back, purple belts, green belts, white, and white all the way in the back, in line. And then we would either do some type of form, or what we would do, a workout first. We do a workout, right?
Yeah, we do some push-ups, jumping jacks. Then we would do our forms, our katas.
Katas, right? Yeah. And then after that, clap the class down. You sit down. Now it's time to spar.
Yep.
Then after all the chaos, we would have to sit down and meditate after all of what happened that day.
You out of breath, and you got to control your breathing.
Got to control your breathing.
And you got to sit still. You can't move.
Right.
I miss those days.
Yeah, me too. So that inspired you to get into what you're into right now.
Organically, yeah.
And then how did it all start? Like, where did it start?
Well, to be honest, like, where did my occult diving start?
Yeah.
You know, I was always like a rebel. So if there was something that I was told not to do, I would be doing it. So when it came to spirituality, I wanted all the dark stuff. I wanted all the forbidden stuff, right?
Mm.
And I actually got into this forbidden stuff, like, what I considered forbidden in high school,
Mm-hmm.
right? So high school, I'm reading up on Aleister Crowley and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I come to find out as I got older that this this information that I was told was forbidden was actually um appropriate for developing the mind, right? I'm not going to front. It started with openness and my rebellious phase, somewhat of an immature phase, teenage phase,
Mm-hmm.
going then developing into something where you got a lot of real mature specialists dive into.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The rebelliousness that you said is true in the spirituality. Outside of organized religion, you have to be a bit rebellious to go against what they tell you, because organized religion restricts you.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
understand? But you have to go out there and test it yourself and understand that the being that the people call the Christ was an occultist himself. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. I was able to dive into some deep waters. But you know another thing, the lack of fear, right? Uh, Learning that from the dojo too, right?
Yeah.
So what's the main thing with our people, indigenous people in America, when it comes to more advanced spirituality? It's this fear thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? The fear was literally beat out of us in dojo. You couldn't have membership in the dojo that me and Ryan came from and be scared of nothing.
Right. Because they'll
We
beat it out.
fighting every day.
They'll beat it out of you.
They beat it out of you. So like that's we learn discipline. We learn not have no fear. So you take that anywhere else in life. I took that into the occult,
Hmm.
or I took that into spirituality, which got me into occult science,
Right.
occult practice.
Right. Now, when you say occult practice, right? Exactly what would you consider occult practice?
So the basics.
That's a wide answer.
The word occult means hidden, right? So we talk about occult practice. We're talking about things along the line of hidden practice, secrets, mysteries, mysticism, the unknown, or what um, advanced spiritual art that would most of the time make the average person develop psychosis, right? Or spiritual practice that's reserved for high level priests that have certain training.
Mhm.
There's hidden things that you would practice. The main purpose of it a lot of the time would be to sustain the society better, right? There's advanced medicines that are practiced in these mystical arts. They should never be abused though, right? And
That's a
then
fact.
then we get into the cohabitation with entities, right? A lot of us start to develop an understanding that we're not here by ourselves living as humans. There's other energies that we interact with, and there's art for that. There's art forms to work with those energies.
Got you. Got you. All right. So you broke down the occult science. What would be, if I'm a beginner, if I don't know anything about the occult science, right? Or if I'm a non-believer, hey, man, I can't see it. It doesn't exist. So what would you show a beginner, or what would you give a beginner to read or to take a look at, or a non-believer, quote unquote, to take a look at, to not necessarily convince them, but show them that, hey, this is actually real, and this is the way you go about learning this stuff?
So the most direct way to start would be a mathematics that we call Euclidean geometry, right? So linear lines inspired most of the Western occultists, right?
It's a fact.
What would make a scientist go off on the deep end and start practicing the occult? So they started with this thing called Euclidean geometry, and these were scholars. So these scientists, these mathematicians that studied straight lines, started to have an understanding that the study of lines get into some real mystical things. The study of lines leads you down a rabbit hole of mystery. And the closest way that we can explain the mystery of these lines, the best word we could describe it when we're studying Euclidean geometry in an advanced way is magic, right? So that's the first thing, is to start studying Euclidean geometry, to study geometry, to study things about shapes, angles. That's the basics, right? Yeah, see, an amateur occultist would tell you to go read this book. Nah, study mathematics. That's how you get into this.
The 369 theory as well, Nikola, the Tesla stuff. And the people who want to be extra curious about the whole thing, you can also look at authors such as John Dee.
Yeah, John Dee. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got your basic man, but
yeah, I like you brought up John Dee, because the people who got into the occult were real scientists,
exactly,
scholars, specialists.
Yeah.
So this was not something that like your average person entertained. One would be a specialist that would even dive into this, and this is something that's been on record.
Yeah, you gotta have the mind for it. It's funny you said that. People do lose their minds, because you're gonna be out there clucking like a chicken in the street if you don't know what you're doing, because there's so many. As Terrane was saying, with the occult things, it's also based on your intentions as well. You understand what I'm saying? It's based on what you want to do with it.
Indeed.
So Euclidean geometry.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of it.
Yep.
You said study mathematics, shapes, etc.
Angles, shapes. Yep.
Angles, shapes. Man, that is an eye opener for me. The way you broke that down. Thank you for that. Now you open my eyes more to it. So now moving forward. So after I study Euclidean geometry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Euclidean geometry. After I study that, what would be the next step? Like basically, like where would people go to learn this this science unmolested? You get what I'm saying? And I'm saying that because as you know, the way we came up before you really got deep into it, or maybe you went deep into it, we didn't know, I don't know, but we were all me, you, I knew, and was it somebody else? I think it was somebody else, right? It was just me, you, and I.
No, it was just us three. It was just us.
It was just us three.
Yeah.
We were all into the occult back in the days, 2008, I think, 2007, 2008. We were really trying to get into it. Not every, but the few people I tried to get to help me with these teachings, they were you know, from the the Rainbow Coalition, and I'm not talking about Jesse Jackson. You know what I'm saying? And they
Let's stop it right there.
and,
Let's stop it right there.
and they were more interested in something else than teaching me the teachings. And so, of course, I'm not having that. So, I backed away from it. It really turned me away from it. It really turned me up all the way. So
Deviance.
So my thing is, let's say I'm back into it. Where would I now? Euclidean geometry is one place I can take a look, but where else should I go to be taught these teachings?
All right, so this question is not linear. The answer is not linear, right? Before we even going out to seek a teacher, meditation. You gotta learn as much about meditation as possible, right? And the first thing about meditation, the most important meditation, is to shut your mind completely off, which is very, very hard at first, right? It is ridiculously hard, especially for Americans that have Twitter accounts and Twitch and TikTok, because your attention span is so short, you can't even shut your mind off for 3 seconds. So because I grew up practicing meditation, my channels were open to take my mind to higher degrees. But most Americans they lack that ability. So you got to sit at meditation and the study of for a little second. After that, then now there are occult practices or spiritual practices that can become very occult. One of them is the Kabbalah, right? The straight mystic science of the Kabbalah. That's one. You got Sufism, which is Islamic mysticism. That's another good one, right? You got the high-ranking arts of African spirituality, which can get really occult.
Yes.
And there's 28 African spiritual sciences. So it's like a whole world of arts. Then you got Western occultism, right? Which is very credible, right? So you got a bunch of places to go. But the worst thing you can do right away is look for a teacher.
Exactly. A teacher will find you once you go into meditation.
Yeah, there's something you gotta draw to you, because it's crazy, right? When I was in high school, I would be daydreaming about being in a monastery, right? Like that was something I always wanted to attract to me, was deep esoteric science, right? So I think that a beginner has to go through that process of self-study first, and then allowing a mystical art to find them. That would be my suggestion.
So basically, like, draw it to yourself. So, some of this stuff isn't far-fetched from what they teach in the 5% Nation, as far as plus degrees based on the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, or subconscious mind, the magnetic conscious mind, the superconscious mind, and the infinite mind, right? So the magnetic conscious is referred to as, obviously the words there, the mind or the consciousness that draws things to you. So it's really not all that far-fetched. Geometry and everything like that, mathematics, it all kind of like comes together if you open up your. I like what you just said. You said meditate, and draw it to you. However, what do you say? No, I want to actively seek out help. I want to actively seek out help. I want to make calls, because for me, that obvious that didn't really work. That didn't really work. So, I mean, that didn't work at all. So this platform is about giving people the best and the purest form of all the different teachings. So, and this is why you're here for occult, because I know you specialize in that and I trust you. So now, can you give the people a place to go? Can you give the people a reference, or maybe you're even yourself, the Occult College, your platform?
I'm really thinking about your question, because I don't want to lead the people astray. Now we are in a time of the most watered down occult practice the entire globe. Everybody's
Speak
an
on it.
occultist. Everybody's a magician. Sephora is selling sage. You know what I'm saying? The occult is for sale right now. You know what I'm saying? So, um, it's hard, man.
Can I add to that?
But we have, yeah. Hold on. But
Initiation
you
on
got the,
Facebook.
yeah, initiations on Facebook. But you got the Occult College on YouTube, right? So all you gotta do is type in the
Get plugged
Occult College
with the K, right?
with the K on YouTube, and you get all your lessons right there, right? You got somebody that's credible, like my brother Ron said, and no BS. You know what I'm saying? And you know what's deep? I'm happy you brought that up, because that's why we created the Occult College, was for you to be able to learn from somewhere without being bamboozled, right? 1,300 videos on that channel
Mm.
covering all occult, bunch of lectures, and that was the purpose for anybody who was a true seeker, because like Ron said, it's easy to get bamboozled, scammed, hit on, because there's no organization that regulates the occult.
Right.
So now all the predators can be in the midst of real practitioners.
Exactly.
So I'm happy you brought that up.
Can I add also Terrane's real deal? I'm not here to flatter him or nothing, but we was communicating at one point and he sent me a few things. I was just like, let me check this out, what he's talking about. Started practicing them, and I called him like a few days later, and I said, yo, bro, it's crazy. Like, remember that dream I told you I had?
Yeah.
Yo, I got a story with that.
Yeah.
Terrane asked me to write down all of the words in this book. Bro, I started doing that, and all of a sudden, there's no lie, no mystery, spooky, nothing. Not exaggerating. I started going into like some kind of trance, like, and when that started happening, I said, "Nah, I'm putting this down." I stopped. I stopped doing it. But yeah, man. Yeah, Terrain Hicks has been doing this now for a long time. So I trust you. So now let's go into so now you said Occult College. You have 13,000 or 1,300? You said 1,300.
1,300 videos.
1,300 videos. Now, I'm a person, I'm just seeking what video should I start with on the Occult College?
Well, so there's playlists, right? Start with your interests, right? So I got comedic science, I got Shaktism, I got different energies that you work with. I got something on sacred geometry. I got a bunch of stuff. So one of the best things to do when you study anything spiritual is something that speak to you, right? Start with your interests, because in order to study something advanced, that a lot of this science could be potentially dangerous to. In order for you to properly pay attention, you got to really have a passion to desire to study it. So don't start with something that somebody tell you is good for you. Start with something that you kind of got an organic interest with. So you got all these playlists, just pick one, and the playlists are in order. So you would follow every video and take notes, and there's homework and all of that stuff.
Gotcha. Copy. So when it comes to meditation, right? Meditation is a huge part of your practice. Would you say, if I had to put it in a percentage, would you say it's 70% of what you teach meditation, 50%, 80%?
That's a good question. So meditation and chanting and breathing, I would put that into one thing. I'm gonna say that's 70%, right? Those three go together,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
One of them is more superior than all of that, and it's breathing, right? That's the elite, right? Breathing, that's everything, right? But like that's foundational practice that is mandatory in order to even see things properly, in order to eat, also in order to keep your mind stable.
Right. Okay.
You gotta breathe. Science of breath. It's
All right.
important.
So explain that the science of the breathing, what it does to the brain. One thing I know about breathing is when you take a deep breath, it actually relaxes your body and brings your body into the parasympathetic mode in the body, because you have the parasympathetic and you have the sympathetic, and the parasympathetic is more a relaxed state. So when you take that breath, your body kind of gets in a relaxed mode. Now, is that the reason why is that one of the reasons for the parasympathetic nervous system?
Yes. Also, as we know, these arts were practiced thousands of years ago, right? We got a lot of proof of that. The masters, especially like when we talk about like the yogis, have they had a whole operation on the intricacies of the breath, and where the breath opened up different channels. So yeah, parasympathetic and relaxing you, but to go deeper, when you're breathing in, you're not necessarily just breathing in oxygen. Got hidden gases, right? There's hidden parts of the brain that open up, hidden, what we call hidden fires and hidden liquids that expands the mind's operations to perceive, to see, and all of that. But there's so many different channels and chambers of breathing. Uh, you would have to approach the science of breathing, and the most prominent science of breathing we call pranayama, right? You would have to approach the science of breathing as breathing a spiritual art within itself. I would say breathing is the most pure religion, right? So what you said, Ron, spot on. It also goes very deep.
All right. Mike, I don't know if you have any questions because I have so many others.
Now I'm listening to what you say. It's true. Science of breath. I practice that with the meditation, with the Om chant. Is important. It's a
You took the words right out of my head.
yeah. Make it vibrate through your. You gotta make the word vibrate through your whole core. Your middle pillar, which is right here, and you're dealing with the You know where I'm going with this. So, you know, you're dealing with
Yeah.
the people to be like, it's just chakras. You know, how they put in depicting cartoons. You have your good angel, your bad angel, but remove that concept of the angel and look at it as pillars within your body. So your body is your temple. So that's pretty much it. Is learn the science of breath and going deep within. This
You
is
know,
leading.
it's deep. It's deep. You brought up the Om chanting, right? Right, because this is another thing that is being sold all over the place. Fake
Exactly.
gurus telling everybody to chant Om. Om is deep though, because I would say that one should learn Om to chant Om before they even learn the alphabet. Om is essential
Exactly.
because it's the start of everything. It's the engine.
Hmm.
It's the first word, right? And it runs off of everything. You can hear Om in jet engines, car engines, your refrigerator. Om is everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, before you were saying, I mean, some time ago, you said something about Om is the sound that the universe, or something like that, uh, kind of like vibrates or emanates, whatever you call, whatever you, if you will. Uh, is that what you said?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So how are these things discovered, right? Like I would say something like Om is the sound that the universe vibrates. So the yogis, right, that were in the Himalayas, right, they had um went into meditation so deep that they would be in these trance-like states for months, weeks, years at a time. In these transcendental state, you could hear the Om sound almost constantly, right? So I'm saying that to say that this information was brought from people whom were in transcendental states.
Mm.
That's deep.
They did a whole lot of meditation though,
Exactly.
a lot
Hmm.
meditation that people don't even know is humanly possible. And you still have yogis that exist though.
Yeah.
Mm.
They're not extinct.
Got you. All
There
right.
was a yogi that stopped his whole heart pace. He slowed his heartbeat down for like about 6 months or so.
That, that's all from the breathing science that
Yeah,
I'm bringing up.
that was crazy, man. Like they thought clinically they say he was dead, but he was still alive. Like he had a pulse, but they say that to the point where his heartbeat stopped completely, and like, it's just weird, bro.
I think
Uh,
I heard something like that, or not heard, but I saw something like that online.
yeah.
So now we went into breathing, we went into chanting. Now we understand why breathing is important. It was mind opener for me, saying like certain things open up in the brain. Chanting the Om, the sound of the universe. Now meditation is the third pillar, right? That you spoke of. Can you give us more on that? Like, why is meditation? Why should we do all of that plus meditation?
So the first thing with meditation, like I said, the first piece of meditation to learn is to shut down your mind, right? Because I mean, we could use the example where like if you don't turn your phone off, you don't restart your phone at least a couple times a week, it's going to freeze, right? Same thing with a desktop computer. You have to shut the mind off as best you can. It needs to rest.
Mm.
And then it can reboot and it can make you perform better as a human. It can make you perform more optimal. It can make you make better decisions. So that's the first reason meditation is mandatory. The second reason is because we all get visions. We all have dreams, right? We all can see in our mind's eye. We can, right? We have to be able to ponder what we're seeing in our visions and our thoughts for a considerable amount of time. Because if we don't, we will absolutely get confused, right? Also, the rate our thoughts are moving through our brain is 40 something thousand a day, right? Without meditation, you cannot process 40 something thousand thoughts. A lot of us are making decisions without taking time to actually process the thoughts. We're making mistakes. But when you, and it gets deeper when you take it to practicing occult science or advanced spiritual art, like I said, that could be potentially dangerous. You don't have time to miscalculate your thoughts, right? One piece that is the most vulnerable when practicing these arts is your mind, right? So the difference between someone whom can dabble into spiritual art and be checked into the psych ward and someone like myself who could appear totally sane and functional, the biggest piece would be meditation.
All right. Now, Joe Dispenza, I read some of his stuff and watch some of his videos, and he speaks about how meditation takes the brain out of the beta state of being in the brain. The vibration in the brain, beta is like survival mode, is like kind of like always thinking about something. And then meditation takes it from beta to alpha, where it's more like calm. And then theta is I forgot exactly where theta is, but the description of theta. But you guys out there, the audience, you could look it up yourself. Meditation takes the brain from being beta to alpha into theta, which is theta, I think, is like you're not here, right? Like
You in
you're
between awake and sleep.
right, exactly.
Mm.
That's theta. That's theta. So do you know anything about that? Do you have any anything about those states of the
Yeah,
brain waves? Yeah.
so you got alpha, beta, theta, and delta, right?
Delta. Yep.
Right. So delta is the deep, deep, deep sleep.
Mhm.
Second deep is theta.
Yeah.
Then you got beta. Then you got alpha,
Th-
right? So
mhm.
um, so those four states of rest, um, that's a Western science thing, but in Eastern science, that concept is very well understood as well. So
Well,
that's yeah,
just to be clear, beta is not a rested state. Beta is more like
yeah, beta's active. Yep, yep.
beta's
Yeah,
active. Beta's
yeah,
active.
yeah, beta's active. My bad. Yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. So the Eastern also recognizes those states of brain wave.
Yes, now, right? Because what Joe Dispenza is talking about, it makes it's accurate, right? And it would be it would I would say it would be some part of Western psychology and medicine, right?
Hmm.
In the occult, those four states are also connected to the four phases of the moon. The first four, alpha, so on and so forth,
That's a
right?
fact.
And the deepest phases of the moon, the delta phases, that's where you get the real deep pronounced dreams associated with what they know in the West as astral projection.
And the most
So
rituals are done.
is
It's during the
Right?
moon phases. Yeah, it's true.
So the 4 states are also connected to the moon.
All right.
Right?
I gotta do the analysis of that right there. Yeah, yeah. All right. So the four states of the moon and the brain waves connection, you connected that. All right. So now you gave us Occult College. Uh so what are the things that we can do with these teachings or with this science? Now, from looking at you online, I noticed that you give people like money rituals and so on. How is that possible? Like, you don't have to give us all the tea on what you do, right? But like, some of the services you provide or for people, someone told me I had a few people say, man, Terrain is the truth, man. I did this thing he told us to do, and now this person is no longer stalking us, or something like that to that effect. Terrain gave me this here, and this pain is gone. Or what is actually happening with this?
Here we go. See, this is what I was talking about. So there's a category called black magic, right? There is a craft called witchcraft, right? This is an elite thing, though. This is after you have all of this, you got years and you got training, you had trial and error. Then you can practice something that we call magic. So spirituality, a lot of people think magic is automatically a part of spirituality. Magic is a very specialized thing that back in the day, not everybody was even allowed to practice.
Bingo.
Right? This is deep because it's not even necessarily really supposed to be spoken about like that, because that's how sacred it is, secretive. And it's not for the population to practice it, right? You got priests that are black magicians because that is their profession. Myself, right? So it's hard for me to break it all down because it's that secretive, right? But it is part of the occult, right? But this is when it's like up there.
So you have to be in it for years, practice, and make it make it more of a part of your culture, if you
Right.
will.
Yeah.
This is like it's a
Yeah.
daily practice. This is
Yeah.
what you. Yep.
Right.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
for a long time, up until recently, it was frowned upon to share the actual secrets of these type of arts,
Hmm.
right? You have that, and then you have it also being demonized
Hmm.
by the Inquisition and stuff like that too,
Right.
right? But it's a secret.
Okay. So you can't really go into it.
I,
Okay.
over when we keep doing videos, I'll go into more aspects of it.
Okay. 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 Cool. Now, does the occult science have anything to do with masonry? Does the masonry, does the craft blend occult science? That question is for both of you.
All right, so wait. I got something for this one. So the old world order, right, had to have occult practice to it had to include occult practice to maintain order of the globe. It's always been like that. So absolutely, of course, right? Without order, the world will implode on itself. So the people they don't know how to behave.
Mhm.
So you absolutely did need magic and gatekeepers of magic to maintain the order. All right, Mikey, take it away with this one.
The connection was breaking up. Probably they don't want us talking about this. That's the energy, but they Masonry is universal, but not every order practices the same, depending on region and country. You understand?
Yeah.
It could be it's done differently in most Caribbean lodges, African lodges,
Mm.
where mystery is implemented due to the culture of that nation. But within any order, anything in life, is a certain science that's practiced. Like through Nation of Islam, through constant reading, the Nation of Gods on Earth had their own order that they follow, their rules, their lessons.
Mm-hmm.
That is some kind of occult teaching to itself. You know what I'm saying? Because no disrespect to the gods, but looking at supreme mathematics, if you put it in front of a Kabbalist or a numerologist, they'll say this is Kabbalah or Gematria. What the numbers represent, the letters, and everything that represent. That's on a different level. Not saying that's what it is, but a Kabbalist will look at it like, hey, this is Gematria right here.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So it's like a church. A church has a certain energy to it when you walk in. They all need that kind of order to keep the people coming. You need that. You need that kind of order, as Terrain said, to keep the people coming in, to keep the energy flowing. Because the energy, we all conduits. It has to travel from one person to another.
Mm.
So that's what it is.
To keep the world in check too.
Exactly. Chaos and order. You
But
need.
but the thing is, people get real spooky with this. So I want to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely high-powered sorcerers that are involved with maintaining order, but most members in these secret societies are not the actual sorcerers. There's aspects of rituals, but those are very high-powered magicians, and they come few and far in between. I think Mikey would agree with me on that.
Yes, sir. Not every. This is for the spooky people out there. Not every Mason you see is part of the world order to take over. It's not part of the cabal. Not every Nation of Islam person, will be some kind of person that practices Islam, some kind of quote unquote terrorist whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
These profanes
Yep.
out here need to stop thinking and talking like that. And every person that practices African sciences are evil. That comes from the Western world's view on religion. So
Like,
Yes.
mhm.
that's
like
disrespectful.
Sharif Bey said, that's Inquisition talk.
Yeah. 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 Got you. So basically, the occult teachings is kind of like in Masonry. Yeah.
I can't say. Let me see. I think just keeping order as far as like developing himself. That's all it is.
Yo, Mikey, I love how you answered that.
No, because I'm saying because it's not mystifying thing, but everything has a
Right.
science. Everything has a science
Mhm.
to it.
Everything has a science to it.
Yeah,
So, like for example, I didn't get far in. I was just let the people know, the audience. I became a Mason years ago. I went in through Enter the Apprentice, and then I realized I don't need it. I mean, I guess from where I was at the time, I was in Prince Hall Mason. I was a Prince Hall Mason, into the Apprentice. I didn't go too far because they had this catechism that you had to memorize. And I said, wait a minute. They do that at the 5% Nation. What am I here for? So I just said I'm gonna put this down and go back to what I was doing already. So that's why I didn't really get too deep into masonry.
Oh my God, Ron, the Illuminati. Oh my
But
God.
but like the whole the catechism, the apron, the ritual, the way that I came in, I can speak on it because I don't care. You know, I had this thing over my head. I was blind, not over my head. I had this thing over my eyes, like whatever, something over my eyes, and then I had my arm and my chest out, and my other half was covered, and I was walking, and then I was kind of like cut with something, like not necessarily sliced, but like rubbed with something down my chest, down my pec, and there was like this whole ritual and everything like that. Does that have any correlation to occult teachings, occult science?
Without saying too much, we
Oh
have
yeah.
something called ceremonial magic,
Yeah.
right? Pretty much anything ceremonial in ritual,
Mhm.
it's a form of magic because it takes time to role play actions, energy that comes behind that. And the mind is also engulfed in those operations.
Mm.
So, ritual items, absolutely, that is absolutely a form of occult practice.
To simplify it, it's like getting initiated to a gang. They want to see how you react in certain situations. Can we just put it like that, Terrain? Is it safe to say that?
Yeah, yeah,
How you react if you get confronted by four or
yeah.
six people getting, you get into a rumble? How would you run or would you throw down?
Mhm.
But on a deeper
Right.
level, it's more to see how you connect with the universe, to look into deep into within yourself. You get what I'm saying? That's all it's about. As you said, ritual magic is to invoke certain emotions out of you.
Mm.
Right. Right.
To know, because there's a point in life where things start to go, when you start going through different changes and facing
Mhm.
adversities in life. It's to know how you will react. You know,
Yeah.
so you need it.
Gotcha. All right. I think that was thorough for the first time on the occult teachings
Live.
on live.
Terrain's the truth.
You brothers want
Yeah.
to
Good looks.
add anything to what was said today? You can. Um, let me know.
The conspiracy talk's gonna come out. You admitted that you were a Mason, Ron. You here talking amongst Mason occult people. Oh my God, we taking over the world. Oh my God.
Oh
Yo,
Lord.
they Freemasons, yo. They Freemasons, yo.
Listen, this is why I'm not on Facebook no more.
Yo, a bunch of weirdos. They taking over. No, we're not taking over. Everybody operate like that. We don't. Come on, man. It's not like that.
Megan G said that was awesome, guys. Thank you, Megan G. I appreciate you watching. Really,
Thank you, Megan G.
Arnell Bay was in the cut. I don't know where he went. Arnell Bay asked if you had something on. Did Brother Terrain have a group on Facebook back in the days?
Yeah, I still got it. It's called the Royal Bloodline.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he probably know me from that group.
I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
yeah.
Terrain's the truth. To go back, I I took something from this brother. He's like, yo, do this. And when I told him exactly, he's like, yo, you're bugging. I was like, what I seen was X, Y, and Z, bro. And that's how it was. And he's like, yo, because that's, I was like, you see? He told me, go. He like, buy a compass and buy a square. I did exactly as he told me to. You know what I'm talking about, right, T?
Oh Lord, he talking about the secrets. Oh
Yeah,
Lord.
we didn't go too far. We're not going too
Yo,
far,
you
but I
see
was
Rod?
like,
Look at Rod's face.
yeah, bro. And I was like, yo, Terrain. I'm like, you know what? Let me put this down real quick before I lose my mind, bro. But it wasn't negative.
Yo,
It was
Terrain
just,
stuff is high powered.
nah, it
Tell you,
is.
they tell you to do something, you do it. It's like,
Yeah, man. It was a beautiful experience, man. I remember I was sitting down there and I'm like, yo, I seen everything. I'm like, this is clear, man. Then, yeah, man. I was
But Mikey, would you consider yourself an occultist? I
to
think you are a
a
occultist to
certain
an
degree.
extent. I believe you.
For the basic
And
principle,
Ron, I think you're an occultist and don't know it.
Ron's a Uga. Ron's a Uga. He's a voodoo priest. Ron's a Uga.
Yeah. I didn't think Ron don't know it.
Let me tell y'all something. Listen, y'all downplay my occultistness. First of all, my whole thing is that it just got to be right and exact. That's my whole thing. Like, it's got to make sense. It got to add up. If it don't add up, you know what I'm saying? It's not math. So I can't see it. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, it's got to be like, it's just got to make sense. I'm not into belief. You know what I'm saying? I'm into, like, you know, what makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Let me keep it real. On a cult level, again, not taking away from the nation of gods and earth. How many gods you heard say they read the lessons and they say, yo, they tell me I am God at such a young age, have me acting different. I was behaving different.
Yeah.
It vibrated in the pores. But, you know, the
Mhm.
word, like,
I know what you said.
It resonated differently. So that's all it is, man. The occult that's what it is. Shout out to the Santeria community, the Ifa community, the Palomayambe people, the voodoo people, the hoodoo, the
Kimbanda.
The Kumbandas. It's my bad. Yeah, the Kumbandas. My bad. I don't want to be for the COVID. Chill. I don't want no. Yo, let me stop before Terrane send the hitters at me, man. Let's chill. But shout out to all the occultic people and the African practices, science practitioners, because it's a beautiful thing, man. I think the world is slowly shifting back to that.
Yeah.
Stay away from the online predators taking your money. Stay away from them.
Yeah, and stay away from those guys, man, that try to get you. You know what I mean? To practice something else besides occult science.
And a crazy woman that uses as a form of weaponry after a breakup. First thing they do, they run to the Botanica.
Yo, y'all better be careful out there, yo.
Yeah, they like, I'm gonna teach him a lesson.
Yo. You know they be
go ahead.
You know they call me, right? They call me. They call me they be calling me.
I want to teach them a lesson. They'll spend their rent money. They lucky I'm not one of those online cats. I was like, yeah, bring that money over there. I'll give you a bottle of water and a candle until you have a nice day. You're lucky I'm not like that. You're lucky I'm not like that, man.
We're signing out. This is the second live. We did 2 lives in a row, Monday and then Tuesday, man. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for watching, tuning in. Tomorrow we got Brother Sharif on to speak about Moorish science. And then Friday we got Brother Arnell Bay on, and we got some surprises coming up, man. A lot of surprises. Definitely. Peace to everybody out there. Thanks for tuning in. Peace. New Yorkers Perspective.
Terrane got to come back.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt.
And we're signing out. Peace.
We out.